Okay guys, hello, and I'm gonna quickly cover the linear equations master bank that I made for you guys. It's without the midpoint and distance formulas, so we should be able to solve it. I'd rank it around year 8 to year 9 level mathematics. I want to take around 10 minutes for this. And as you can see, I already have everything because I once again made the mistake that I actually recorded it this time, but the iPad's fault, it's the computer's fault. So firstly, question 1, I'm just gonna highlight it so you get it. If they're parallel, what happens? They must have the same gradient, right? Oh, I'll use the same. They must have the same gradient, right? So if they have the same gradient, it'll look like that. Train tracks. That's why they have the same gradient. And if they have the same gradient, we can simply equate the two gradients that they give us, right? So they give us -3 and 5 and a over 6. And so with this, what I did was I just simply solved it. I moved 6 to the other side, and I got a is equal to -18 over 5. What if they're perpendicular? I've told you guys the perpendicular gradient of 2. So if it was like 2x, it would be -1 over 2x. We call it the negative reciprocal, right? Okay. And there's a formula for this. It's m1 times m2 is equal to -1. Okay. Because if we move m2 to the other side, it'll look like this, -1 over 2. The negative reciprocal, right? So for example, if it was like y is equal to 3x, its perpendicular line would be -1 over 3x, okay? And you can simply solve it using this formula in case it's like 3 times m2 is equal to -1, m2 is equal to -1 over 3. So you can see how we get there. In case of this one, we just do -3 over 5 times a over 6 is equal to -1, right? The formula, and we solved it. I simply just multiplied them together, numerators and denominators, and simplified by dividing top and bottom by 3. And I got this, -10. A lot of students ask me, is the negative with here or is the negative with the bottom? Right, doesn't really matter. For example, if I kept the negative with the a, we get -a multiplied by 10. So move 10 to the other side, so it'll be -10. And then you divide both sides by -1, right? And you get 10, right? What if we consider the negative with the 10 then? Okay, then if we divide both sides by -10, so it'll just be a left, and -1 divided by, times by 10, sorry, multiplied by -10 would be, it will simply just be 10, right? Because negative and negative would be positive. So you can see it doesn't really matter if it's top or the bottom. Don't get confused with fractions, okay, guys? Second question. So we finished line 1. Okay, let's do line 2. A line through this, and this has a gradient of that. Okay, so always list out the things. Okay, sorry. Always list out what you have. This is what we have. It says it passes through point 1, point 2 with a gradient of -4. So I wrote it out. This is the formula. -4x plus c. Because this is what we have so far, right? Now, what do? So just remember, this is the slope-intercept form. We substitute the point 2, -1 in. Okay? And you get this. You solve for c, and you get c is equal to 9, and you complete the formula, right? The formula would be y is equal to -4x plus 9, right? Because you solved for c using two known points, using a one known point with two coordinates, x and y, right? So that's what we did. And now, knowing c, we have the full equation. We simply substitute -3 and n in, and we get this, okay? N is equal to -4 times -3 plus 9. Solve it, and you've solved for n. Quite a simple process, but you need to understand why. And that just comes with knowledge on linear equations. So it's been 3 minutes 50. I'm going to chop. Find the gradient and y-intercept of the line with the equation, this and this. So simply, this is the gradient intercept form. This is y is mx plus c. The m is the gradient. So we have the gradient 2 over 5. And c is the y-intercept, right? 3. Very simple. Okay, what about for this one? This is in general form. I like to call it GF, girlfriend form or gluten-free form, whatever you want to make you memorize it. To make it go into slope-intercept form so that we can find the gradient and the y-intercept quite simply like this, is to just make y the subject, right? So we move x to the other side. You can see I did that. And then I divided both sides by -3. So y is now alone, and we can get the gradient, 2 over 3 and -8 over 3. Okay, so that's done. Next, find the equations of line 1, the x-axis, line 2, and line 3. Okay, so The x-axis has the equation of y is equal to 0. It just comes with knowledge. And what about the y-axis then? Y-axis, x is equal to 0. Okay, so we can see this. This is the line that it's talking about, right? And we can see it intercepts the y at y is equal to 0. So the equation of the x-axis is y is equal to 0. So line 2. Line 2 is this one. So we look at this line here. Okay, and similarly, where does it intercept the y-axis, which is the c value of the y is equal to mx plus c? Intercepts at 0, right? So we get y is equal to mx, right? Because it'll be y is mx plus 0, which is y is equal to mx. Now we look at the gradient. It is -1 because for every 1 it goes across, it goes down 1. So the rise over run is just -1 over 1. So it's a negative x. Y is equal to negative x is the equation. Finally, let's look at this line. And the line 3 has the equation y is equal to mx plus c again. What is the c for this one? Take a pause. Okay, yep, it's 3. Okay, so it's y is mx plus 3. Now we look at the gradient. What is the gradient? It goes across, it goes up 1 for every 2 it goes across. Right, so you see it goes up 2 here, and it goes across 4. Okay, so it would just still be 2 over 4 or 1 over 2. So y is equal to 1 over 2x plus c. Perfect. So done this one. Let's do this one. Question 5. Find the equation of the line like that. Did I have it here? With the gradient 5 and y-intercept of -2. Yep, so here, if you look here again, okay, find the equation of the line with gradient 5 and y-intercept -2. Gradient 5, y-intercept -2. That's it. With the gradient 3 over 4 passing through 3 and -1. So if this is the gradient, we can just write it out like this. Y is 3 over 4x plus c. Then we just get this point, which it says it passes through, substitute it in, and we solve for c. We found that c is equal to -13 after some algebra, right? And the equation you get finally is y is equal to 3 over 4x minus 13 over 4, which is what we solved in this process here. Okay, and finally, the last one is passing through 4, -3, and -1, 1. This one is just, it's just general stuff. You substitute 4, -3 into the formula, and you get this. Now, what do? You substitute this point in to this formula again, and you get this, right? So I have not changed anything yet. I simply just substituted the 2 points in, and what did I get? I simply got these two, right? Solve with elimination, so you minus it, and c minus c is 0. 4m minus -m is 5m, and -3 minus 1 is -4. Then you just divide both sides by 5, and you get m. Put that into this formula, and then what do? You substitute an easy point in, right? I'm going to use -1 and 1 because it's easier to solve than 4, -3. So it'll just be 1, right? 1 is equal to -1 times by 4 over 5. And it'll just be positive 4 over 5. Solve for c. So you can see how solving for c is very repetitive. And finally, you get this equation. Okay? So it should be very similar to the old one. So we're done. Sketch the graph. Okay, for sketching, I'm not going to show you guys. I am going to show you guys. Okay, sketching, let me see. Desmos. I'm going to show you guys how to sketch. I hope it doesn't break my recording this time. Okay, so let's say sketch the point x minus 2y is equal to 6. Okay, x minus 2y is equal to 6. And that is the point. Sketch the point of the... Yep, so we've done that. Does the point -3, 4 lie on the line with the... So we finished this one, by the way. Does it lie on that? Very simple. So this is... The sketch question is solved. And I solved it here. If you really want to, you can just look through how I solved it. Here, you simply just substitute. Also, what I did was I went from general form into slope-intercept form, right? And how did I do that? I rearranged it here. And then I just, it's -3, so intercept is here, and it's 1 over 2. So for every point across, every point it goes up, it goes across 2, right? And this is how I sketched it. I don't have the precise coordinates, but you can find it using a table of values. Now, let's see. Question 7, does the point that lie on that? Okay. How do we see? We just simply substitute these points into the equation, right? And if it's not equal, it's not on the point. And in this case, you can see I substituted the values in, and it did not equal to each other. Negative 13 is not equal to 13. Therefore, point does not lie on the line. So we can say no. Okay, great. Find, okay, so what are we up to now? Okay, find the point of intersection of this and this by graphing. Okay, same thing. I'm just going to do it for you guys. 2x plus y is equal to 10. 2x plus y is equal to 10. And second one is 2x plus y is equal to 10. And 3x minus y is equal to 10. 3x minus y is equal to 10. Oops. Sorry, it's a bit late. It's a bit early. It's 4:12 right now in the morning. I'll just finish some medical studies. Anyway, so what is the equation at the intercept at? You can see that the intercept here at 4, 2. Okay, and wonderful. What else do we have now? Find k if 2k lies on the equation. So same process. You know, we've done this before. 2k, substitute that into here, and you get what? You just get this k as the only variable, or we call that the unknown, right? And you solve for the unknown, and you get 37 over 7. It looks like a weird number. If ever you get a weird number, you can just double check it, and you substitute this back in. Check if it makes sense. If both sides are correct, then you're right. So this is done. On the same set of axes, graph the lines of these. X is equal to 2, and 3x plus 4y is equal to negative 12. I don't really want to do this one, but I will do it. Okay, x is equal to 2, and 3x plus 4y is equal to negative 12. 3x plus 4y is equal to negative 12. Okay, so let me show you guys. Yep, and what do they intercept? 2, negative 4.5. Brilliant. So we've done that. And then last question, on the same set of axes, graph the lines x plus 3y is equal to 9. Okay, so you guys see where it is going, but this question I just solved it below for you guys, because it's asking you to draw it and then solve it simultaneously so that you arrive at the same answers. Okay, so in this case here, ignore this. This is just helping Mason before, because he was asking me about physics. Mason is just my little brother, by the way. So what do? Find the simultaneous. So I'm just going to work on 11b, by the way. What I would be doing is simply looking here. I remember to simultaneously solve, you need to have x or y with the same coefficients. In this case, I multiplied the first one by 2, so I got 2x plus 6y is equal to 18, right? You guys can see here. And now we can eliminate the 2x if we minus both equations. So 0, 6y minus y is 7y, 18 minus 4 is 14. So for y is equal to 2, and then I put 2 back into any of the equations and solved for x. And we got the point 3, 2. If you graph these two lines, you would have got the same answer. Okay, great. Thanks for listening, guys.